Working with dynamic criteria is an extremely strong feature within Target. For example, this dashboard has been set up with a dynamic criteria looking at the previous 12 months. Whenever an end user opens this dashboard, it will show data for the previous 12 months according to today's date. Today is the 25th of June, 2024. So the dashboard will show data for the 12 months period starting in June 2023 and ending in May 2024. You can easily see this in the column chart down here and in the dynamic text up here. A common scenario is that the end user would like to see data for a different time range. For dynamic criteria, this will mean that the end user will need to change the base date. Instead of all data being based on today, the 25th of June 2024, the end user can use this dynamic date origin selector to simulate another today. However, many end users struggle with understanding the concept of a dynamic date origin. For example, if I want to change my month's range to end in April 2024, should I then select April and then a date in April? If we look down here, apparently not. Since the dynamic criteria is set up to show data for the previous 12 months, I should in fact select the date in the following month. For example, the 1st of May. In this way, I get data from May 2023 to April 2024. To many end users, this seems like a confusing way to select the proper time range. Let's open the other dashboard I prepared. If we look at this dashboard, you can see that I have now eliminated the dynamic date origin selector. Instead, here, I have provided an easy way to select the last month of the desired 12 months period range. This is a slice object, and by clicking any of these months, you are in fact selecting the last month of the 12 months range. For example, if I select April as the last month of my range, you can see that it now changes down here in the column chart as well as up here in the dynamic title. Also, if I select February and some of the other months, and also going back to May 2024 as the last month of my range. Let's examine how this has been set up. First, let's switch to designer mode. Like I said, this is a slicer object. It is a list type slice object with members placed horizontally and with a mouse over text. If we look at the definition of the object, we can see that I'm using a user dimension over here. This user dimension contains 12 dynamic members, each giving the desired 12 months range. This one is the default one. It ends in May 2024. This one ends in April 2024. This one ends in June 2023, etc. Now, if I were to add an additional element, maybe the one that ends in May 2023, this is how I would do it. First, click the Add button, pick the predefined previous 12 months criteria, rename the element, previous 12 months minus 12, to stay with my current naming convention. Then here, click the Modify criteria. And this one should then be minus 24, and this one should be minus 13. Finally, move this one to the top of the list to ensure that it goes in as the first element in my slice object. If we look at the crosstab presentation of the slice object in maximized mode, we can see that all the use dimension member names have been replaced by a month name and a year number. And this is something I did as a dynamic caption on these row members. Here, you can see that I simply used month last and year last from the YMD dimension as my dynamic caption. On a final note, I would like to go back to the original dashboard, the one with my dynamic date origin selector up here. I would like to show you a neat trick on how to shift months still using the dynamic date origin selector. This time, instead of opening the selector, I just highlight the months part of the selector. Now, by using my keyboard's up and down arrows, I can easily shift from one month to another. Right now, I'm pressing down. You see the months change here, and of course in the data as well. And I'm still pressing down, down, down. Now I'm pressing up, up, until I'm back where I started.